about Live to Lead. Hello, good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our session. I am so excited to talk to you more about Live to Lead, which is a global rebroadcast event that we are hosting November 15th in Atlanta, Georgia. And today I'm incredibly excited to have my special guest and fellow Live to Lead speaker, Dr. Debbie Phillips. Let me tell you a little bit about this incredible woman. She is an international expert and workforce strategies with an emphasis on employee engagement. In addition to teaching and consulting, Dr. Debbie is a nationally acclaimed author and speaker. Most notably, she was named as one of the 20 most inspiring women by Leaders Magazine and recently named 2023 Ambassador of the Year by Entryway, a nonprofit aimed at ending situational homelessness through careers in the apartment industry. Debbie is also the founder of the Real Estate Career Academy, a nonprofit foundation focused on creating career awareness for preparing a pipeline of talent in real estate. In addition, she is a mentor and friend to many, and I am honored to call her one of my mentors and dear friends. Dr. Debbie, thank you for joining me today.
Marvelous Monday, and I am absolutely delighted to be here today to share with our audience what we're going to be covering on November 15th.
Awesome. So, Debbie, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Number one, first and foremost, I am so honored to have you joining me on November 15th, right there in Atlanta, Georgia, where you live. Can you tell us a little bit more about your session and more about your area of influence? And for everyone's knowledge, so the theme of our Leadership and Personal Growth Day is bringing people together in a world that divides. And we are all passionate and dedicated to making that happen. So Debbie, tell us more about your topic and your areas of influence as a leader.
Well, thank you again, Stephanie. I'm going to be speaking on you're the CEO of YOU. And so often we're waiting for a coworker, a boss. I always say you don't want to work for a boss, you want to work for a leader. But so many times we're waiting on someone to give us the nudge and say we need to get that CAM designation or that CAPS designation, or we need to put our name in the hat for that promotion. And so my session, you're the CEO of YOU, really focuses on three critical areas. And I often say it's the mindset, skill set, action. We've got to nurture our mind because we'll never go any higher than our thoughts, right? So mindset, skill set, we need to sharpen the saw and we need to take action. So those are the three tenets of my presentation.
I love that so much, Debbie. And, in addition to having you and our other in-person speakers, I will be highlighting 4 global rebroadcast thought leaders. John Maxwell is one of them. And, he talks a lot about mindset, right? And in terms of leadership development, which is my passion and purpose, mindset is such a crucial thing to tackle, right? Because we truly do create our own reality through our thoughts, and our thoughts lead to our words, and our words lead to our actions. And if we want to lead others, we first have to lead ourselves, and that all starts with mindset. So I absolutely love your topic, and I cannot wait to hear it. So my next question for you, from your perspective, when I asked you to participate in this event as an in-person speaker, why was it important to you to say yes and participate in this movement of Live to Lead?
Because you asked me. And I believe in you, and I believe in Melissa D. White, and whatever I can do. It's so often that we think about what we're going to do for the masses. And I think about what I'm doing with you and what I'm doing with Melissa. And everyone that comes in that room on November 15th I really encourage everyone to we need to have a box outside the building where we can drop our limiting beliefs. We need to crush that inner critic that is constantly playing in our voice in our head so many times. So the reason I am so excited, honored, and humbled to be with you on that day is because this is a dream come true for you, Stephanie. This is a marker in your life that you will never forget. You have put your goals and your dreams in motion. And I want us to have a standing room only. But if you were the only person in the room, that would be enough for me because I'm showing up for you.
You're going to make me cry on a Monday morning. Thank you. That means so much to me, Debbie. And I just really appreciate you saying yes and for those powerful words of support. And this is a pivotal moment for me because it's an excellent opportunity to bring value to others in a really big way. And I cannot wait for people to enter that room, to network with one another, to hear from you, Melissa, Angel, and Rachel, who you all will hear from over the next few weeks, our incredible global rebroadcast speakers, John Maxwell, who is my mentor and friend, and the other global speakers that people will hear from. And I want people to walk out of that room feeling like this was not only a great investment of my time and my money, but this was life-changing. And I'm going to take what I felt and heard and experienced today, and I'm going to make a bigger difference in the world than what I'm already making. That is my hope and my dream. So thank you for that, Debbie. Okay, so my next question is, tell us one of your core leadership principles for you personally.
Well, I see our dear friend Paul Rhodes has joined us and others that I know. And so hello, friends and family. You know, a leadership principle that's bedrock, it's a keystone for me is lifelong learning, right? You don't have a PhD because you don't like to learn. And I absolutely, it's fundamental to who I am and for those around me. And I'm constantly, people are not around me for very long that I don't give them a book. And people sometimes make fun and they kind of kid me, but we're only as good as our thoughts, right? And we move in the direction of our thoughts. I always encourage us all, never let anything come out of your mouth that you don't want to come true, because we always move in the direction of our talk. So for me, that fundamental, that keystone principle is lifelong learning.
Love it. Mine as well. And I'm reading probably 17 books right now because I don't ever pick them up and read cover to cover, very rarely. It's always, what am I inspired to read today, or what do I want to be inspired by? And in terms of Clifton strengths, my number one strength is learner. So I'm right there with you. Thank you for sharing. All right. So my next question, you know, I talked a little bit about the impact that I hope to see and the value that I hope to bring to others. But for you, Debbie, what impact do you hope to see from this event?
Well, all motivation, external motivation is temporary, right? I want to help you and our fellow presenters instill confidence in our attendees that I want people to drink from a can of belief. They've got to believe they can. And I often share, you know, we tend to, I guess, go back to what we call our default. We resort to our default. So I want to really, my focus is throughout every presenter that they see a common thread being woven into their life, a thread that they can do it, that they can shape their Etch-a-Sketch, that they can equip themselves we'll be probably within 30, 45 days of a new year. And this is a perfect time for every attendee to use this day to reflect on what went well. What did they learn? Stephanie, we just talked about our strength of being a lifelong learner. You either win or you learn. And I want us to think about, we've all had victories this year. We've all had learning opportunities. I use an acronym FAIL, first attempt in learning. What did we learn this year about ourselves? What did we learn that we need to do differently, right? And so on November 15th, from the beginning to the end of the program, I just want others to walk in there with an open mind. A mind is like a parachute. It works when it's open. I want us to come in there as explorers, not as judges. I want us to come in there as artists. I want us to be curious. I want us to be people of inquiry. What do we need to do to make positive change? And Stephanie, you have just come up with a brilliant theme about bringing people together in a world that divides. We get what we focus on. When we focus on love, when we focus on generosity, when we focus on positivity, we illuminate our stage as well as others. There are two types of people in this world. You're either a diminisher or you're an illuminator. And going back to your other question, Stephanie, about joining you, there was no question. I was going to do it. I think my assistant Lori said, "Hey, you might have a conflict." I said, "There will be no conflict. I will be in that room." And I want to help you illuminate your gifts, your platform. Melissa D. White has the activation, and I love that word, activate. I like to ignite. I'm full of vitamin E. I want to encourage people. So I'm looking forward to a day, and I get a lot of questions. I've had a few people say, "Well, now what is it about the simulcast?" And I said, it's just like eating off a buffet. You're going to get to, listen to these topics. You're going to get to be curious about what the presenters have, but what's woven throughout every presentation is a language of love. It's a language of learning. It's a language of how can we help each other? Because no one's going to enter that room, Stephanie, by accident. It is very much the power of intention.
Absolutely. So a couple comments to what you shared, and thank you so much. So the theme, bringing people together in a world that divides, that is actually based off of John's newest book, which is High Road Leadership. And I'll be doing a mastermind starting in January around high road leadership. It was really John's response to the political divide in our country. It's a fantastic book. There are 11 principles of high road leaders, and I cannot wait to bring that to people. But the theme for this event was really based off of that. And when we hear from John, you'll get to hear him talk about that. So I'm super excited. You also mentioned failing forward, right? First attempt in learning. Well, Fail Forward is another one of my favorite books written by John Maxwell. He's written 90 books. And then you also said, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, which is also the title to another one of John's books that is one of my favorites. And so I love that you are weaving in some of those principles because it's so true. And I really think that our world needs what we're bringing to them on November 15th. And so my hope, and I agree with you 100%, we will have the absolute right people in the room who not only are open to receive the message, but who are open to then take that message and multiply it to others. Because it's one thing for us to add value to them and for them to add value to one another in the room, but then to take that and multiply it throughout their spheres of influence and throughout the world is really my goal for that day. And I cannot wait. So my next question is kind of related to value. What value will you bring to leaders to take back to their teams? And we've already touched on some of that, but just to drive that home, what value are you going to bring to the leaders in that room so they can take it back to their teams and to the world and multiply?
I think a core value is commitment. You know, it's biblically based. It's easy to go the first mile. It's hard to go the second mile. I think Chick-fil-A has that second mile service is one of their tenets in their leadership program. But one thing that I really am passionate and I'm just very intentional about is, as leaders, leadership is not about a title. Leadership is about influence. Leadership is about meeting someone where they are. It's easy to meet somebody on the top of a mountain when they've been victorious, but who is with you in the valley? Who is coming alongside of you? And so everyone in that room, Stephanie, I feel certain that they will be able to, exactly what you said, multiply that experience, the ripple effect of being around positive people. I teach career development in college classes, and I remind us all that we're, show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you your future. I'm absolutely enthusiastic about being in a room of inspired people. It's going to be like being in a garden of sunflowers. We're facing the sun. We're not bringing our umbrella, right? We're going to be facing the sun. And I get excited about it because whether I'm in a class as the student or when I'm in a class as the facilitator or the speaker, when one speaks, many learn, and I think it's just a wonderful opportunity to really
Okay, so I'm going to come back in here. All right, guys. So let's see. I am not seeing Dr. Debbie right now, but let's see. Okay. So can you hear me, my tech person? All right. So I'm going to ask this next question, Debbie, and hopefully you can hear me, and I'll pay attention to some cues from the back end. Having a little bit of technical difficulties. Technology is great when it works. So, all right. So how do you bring people together in a world that divides, Debbie? So based on everything that you've said, you've kind of touched on some of those concepts and elements, but how do you bring people together in a world that divides? Okay, so we're going to hear a little bit more from Dr. Debbie about why you should be in the room on November 15th in Atlanta, Georgia at Modex Studios. So stick here with me for a moment and let's hear a little bit more from Dr. Debbie.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Debbie Phillips, and I want to invite you for November 15th, Live to Lead, as we hear from some of the world's most impactful thought leaders and join our live speakers. I often get asked, well, Dr. Debbie, if I can hear some of these speakers through a simulcast, why should I show up in person? And I like to remind us all, champions never sit on the sideline. Abe Lincoln used to say, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 hours sharpening the axe. This is your opportunity to sharpen your own professional development skills. Let's join as we connect with each other and elevate and communicate on a much higher level. Champions are wired to win, and so are you. Join us November 15th for this special event.
John C. Maxwell is a #1 New York Times bestselling author and Horatio Alger Award winner. 4-time Olympian Shantae Lowe is a world record-holding high jumper and gold medalist who has inspired millions with her story on platforms like ESPN and the O Network. Michael Jr. brings laughter and encouragement to audiences all over the world as he inspires audiences to discover and activate their purpose. John Gordon has written 15 bestsellers, including The Energy Bus, The Power of Positive Leadership, and The Carpenter. His clients include several NFL, NBA, and MLB coaches and championship teams. Additional speakers may be international speaker and author Valerie Burton, Chris Robinson, who leads a team of more than 50,000 speakers, trainers, and coaches worldwide, Malcolm Gladwell, who has been called one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine, or serial entrepreneur and business expert Brandon Dawson.
So we look forward to you joining us in Atlanta on November 15th at Modex Studio. You will get to hear from the incredible Dr. Debbie. As you can see, she is just a beacon of light in this world, and you do not want to miss it. Today's interview is sponsored by the Quadrillion and powered by SPH Services, leading people and teams to success. Remember that early bird tickets are available now. So get your early bird tickets because they are just available for the next couple of weeks, and then they will go to regular pricing. So get in while the pickings are hot for early bird pricing. Also, please share, subscribe, and like this video with those who you know could benefit by attending this incredible leadership and personal growth day on November 15th. And we look forward to seeing you there. This is the first part of a 4-part series interview. So join us next Monday as I will be interviewing the incredible Melissa D. White with the Activation Hour, who is also one of our in-person speakers for this event. She is such an accomplished speaker and just an incredible human being doing really impactful things in the world. So I cannot wait to bring her to you. Thank you all for joining us today. Remember to share this with people and go make a difference in the world this week. Thanks for joining.